know when we're on.
So maybe you guys may have gone over this before I got on. Is there a way to see everybody at the same time? Do you know?
Yes. I actually see everybody right now, but let's see, what's the...
I think you those little dots at the top, and there's a gallery view. You click on the dot, and you can make sure gallery is checked.
Yep, that's right.
There's actually a neat feature where you can all be sitting in an audience together. That's kind of funny too, but
together mode, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Now.
All right, everybody. We are live.
Take it away, Tom.
All right, will do. So I'll call the February 15th, 2021 Apex Public Art Committee meeting to order. So welcome everyone. And I will share let me share the agenda so we can take a look at that. All right, here we are. And our first order of business is to approve the minutes from the November 11th, 2020 meeting. That was our last formal meeting. So could I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
And a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Minutes are approved.
Bethany,
And-
you second?
Yeah, it was you and then Bethany.
Okay.
Okay, and now next order of business is the town report from Renee.
Okay, this will be pretty short. The big news is that, if you didn't already know, the director of the Parks and Rec Department, who has worked there for over 35 years, is now taking a well-deserved retirement, and that would be John Brown. And we learned today that the interim director who will be taking over is Craig Setzer. He is now the manager of the Parks and Maintenance Department. Operations, you might say. And he's going to be working with John for 2 weeks pretty steadily. And so he'll be the interim. We don't know for how long. The town also is looking for a town manager as well as a police chief. So we'll probably be the third department that gets a director. It will be open nationwide. So I'll keep you up to date on what's happening with that. We have a guest today, David Wood, who is the manager of the Halley Cultural Arts Center, and he will be taking kind of like the John Brown part of the public art committee overseeing me. He's my boss. So when we have a question for the town, I'll be running to him and saying, what do we do? So then he can go find out, or we'll have the answer. So a little bit of a bump, but we've been a committee for a while now, so I think that we've done some really great things, and we'll continue to do some great things. And we'll have some things to show off the new Parks and Rec Department manager or director. The second thing I wanted to bring up is that the United Arts Council is going to be throwing out their new grant applications for 2021 and 2022. This is how we got some money for the sculpture walk last year. They didn't give an exact date, but they said be ready for it. So when we talk about new projects, start thinking about that we could actually go for another grant specifically for something in public arts. It does not mean that we can't also go for something, or I can't go for something specifically for the Halley, but we can start thinking about public arts. What?
Can you remind me of how much the town got last year?
It was close to 5,000. 2,000 was supposed to go to the Russian Festival. However, the Russian Festival has been pushed back to 2022. I have yet to find out if that $2,000 needs to go back to United Arts or if we can use that for something else. I just don't know about that yet. But the extra part of that went to the sculpture show for the awards, or we haven't really pegged it. And that's another thing that I'm going to need is to know exactly where that money is going, because I'm going to need to write a final report in July.
And I'll work with you on that, Renee.
Okay, thank you. And the only other thing is that we are going to need to put United Arts logo on everything that we start publishing about the sculpture show. So we just have to, if anybody's needs a United Arts logo, if they're putting something on social media or anything, I have plenty of logos that I can show you where to go and get them, et cetera, et cetera. So that is it for me. Kind of big ones, but
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Any questions for Renee? All right. And just to add on to the, just congratulations to John Brown moving on. He's been a tremendous supporter of this committee and getting public art, this public art committee off the ground and the projects we've done. So yeah, we'll miss him for sure. And as well as for the parks and tremendous work he did there also. So looking forward to meeting with him next week and on the Parks and Rec Committee meeting. That'll be his last one next week. So that'll be, it's unfortunate we can't do that in person, but looking forward to wishing him well. All right, on the chairperson's report, that's me. So first of all, I'd like to welcome Renisha Battle. So Renisha, welcome to the team, your first official meeting.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you mind just giving a little bit background of yourself for the rest of the team?
Hi guys. I'm sorry I had to turn my video off because it's draining my battery. But I'm from Apex, North Carolina. I graduated from Apex High, and I attended New Carolina Central University. Graduated in 2006 with a family consumer science degree. My concentration was apparel textile. I currently work on real estate. And so I'm looking forward to join the team and see what I can add.
All right. Thanks, Renisha. Appreciate that.
No problem.
All right.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to seeing you and meeting you in person at some point along the way here. All right.
I would love that.
Yeah. Okay, and let's see. The other thing I wanted to mention, I do want to thank Bethany and Sean for doing the work on the window painting, the holiday window painting this year. So that was terrific. Thank you guys for doing that. I know it feels like that was a while ago now, but this is the first time we've met since that was all complete. So again, thank you very much for doing that and keeping that tradition going, even though it was a modified tradition this year. But I greatly appreciate that.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last year I received the bill. This year, I worked remote, but I did not receive the bill.
For the cleaning, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, I'm sorry.
You should have sent an email, but I'll reach out to TLC and see if maybe they missed sending it or can resend it.
I'm sorry?
I'll look to see if they sent it and somehow it didn't go to the right email address, but they should have emailed you an invoice, but they haven't reached out to me saying it wasn't paid. So I'll reach out to them and forward that to you.
Okay, because I know that John had told me just hand it to him and he would pay it by miscellaneous, somewhere there's a miscellaneous form. And he was going to pay it like that. And I was hoping that if somebody had the bill, then I could catch him before he walks off.
I'll make sure we get that before the end of the week before it gets too busy.
Yeah, that'd be great because who knows if Craig knows where that miscellaneous bill is or miscellaneous AP is.
Okay. All right. That was it for the chairperson's report. Any questions or? All right, we'll move on to public comment. So this is a little different than when we have these meetings purely in the public where people have an opportunity to come up to speak, but maybe I'll just ask Renee if there was any inquiries or any questions, or from David, perhaps, if there's anything to address here.
Not on my end.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything, Tom.
Okay, then we'll hit our old business sculpture show. So that's the big one. So this, we have our pieces selected, and we walked with a number of people from the town, the sites a couple of weeks ago, and we've identified all those sites. So we're now kind of putting getting all the artists under contract and taking additional steps to make sure that we have the right type of platforms and methods to secure the artwork and the appropriate locations. There's a whole number of steps that we need to take there. And I'm also going to meet tomorrow with the marketing team, so we can talk about how we promote this to the town and have, kind of an online presence as well about the show. And so we'll be working through that tomorrow. And there's a number of other activities we have to do between now and the show, which goes live mid-April. So it's we're exactly 2 months away. So it's quite a few things to tidy up. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Renee, of the items you're working on. I know you, Lyman, and I are going to meet later this week to go through the fine details.
I am almost good with all the contracts in from all the artists. W-9s, I've got all except 2. And I think the certificates of insurance, I've got all except 3. So out of 10 artists, that's pretty good. I'm still working on a couple. As soon as I get that, they'll get signed by the rest of the townspeople, and we'll be able to give all the artists their honorariums, and be up to them to, we'll be figuring out dates when they'll be instructed to bring on in their sculptures.
All right, sounds good. David, anything that the Public Works team needs from us right now so they can kind of size the bases and get the locations secured?
Sure. Well, operations will be doing that, so that'll be within our department. And so there'll be, for the ones that are going to require it, there'll be 5x5 concrete pads, probably about 4 or 5 inches deep, poured on site. So they're getting those materials and getting those plans together. First step, and I believe they started this, is making sure do the locator services through 411 to make sure there's utility power lines, et cetera, that are going to be at those sites. So from when we walked around last week, there might be some slight modifications one way to another, a few feet, just to, if there's utility lines in the way. So they're handling that right now. That's step one. And then as far as inspections, they were out. Rudy Baker was with us as well from inspections. He's okay not being involved as far as that goes, requiring any of the art to be inspected after install, except for perhaps the artist that had the arch. That might be the only one that is required to have an inspection, depending on where exactly. I think you guys are still deciding how and where to put that. But if it's going to be over a walkway, that will probably be inspected for safety reasons.
Yeah, it's not going to fit.
So we might have to reposition that one slightly, but that might simplify the process from a safety perspective anyway. Okay, so that's good.
David, I had written you a note about Margot bills. So you and I can talk about that after this meeting, but remind me, I do need you to talk about that, about being on public property.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
All right. Very good. Any questions from anyone from the team on the sculpture show?
Yeah, I've got one. Placards that'll go at the bottom of whatever artwork there is. Do we have any thoughts on that or designs thought about yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Lyman is getting us a reference for that and kind of a mock-up of what that's to look like. I haven't seen that yet. Have you seen that yet from Renee from Lyman?
No.
Okay, that'd be one that we'll follow up with them on offline. But yeah, it's a good call out, Ewan. So we've got that in the works.
So I made a little bit of progress on the logo side of things. That's why I was asking.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. We can talk later.
Yeah, that sounds good. We could talk about that. Okay. Any other questions?
Actually, I have a question. It's Bethany. I know we mentioned, I don't know if we were sure if we were doing any sponsorships from community organizations, or I don't know, we talked about it a long time ago. I didn't know if that had been, is that still currently being discussed?
We're certainly open to it.
If so, I'm wondering if we would need to go ahead and get any requests out so people have time to, I know several people had asked me about it and they're making budgets for the coming year. So just a thought if what that would look like when you guys are talking about the marketing meeting, maybe perhaps that would be a portion of that. Mm-hmm. Maybe it could be helping fund marketing, materials and things like that, or any kind of shirts or anything else that's going to be involved. Maybe that could be part of the sponsorship instead of sponsoring a particular sculpture. Maybe it would just be sponsoring marketing, publications, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, if you have some specific information that you could maybe provide me, my meeting with marketing is tomorrow early. Okay. So if that's something you can send me tonight or tomorrow morning, that would be helpful.
Correct.
Okay. Any others?
I sent you the AutoCast information, Tom, for your meeting with marketing.
Yeah, I took a look at it. That's really looks very promising. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And for everybody else, it's a web-based map, basically, that you can use on your phone. And as you go to different spots, it gives you more information about the artist and the who the artist is, what their background is, what the piece is all about, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a group that does this. In fact, they're doing carries right now. But
what is the name of the app?
What?
What is the name of the app?
It's called AutoCast.
Yeah, OTO
It's weird.
Cast, CAST, and you could download it. Yeah, it's a free download. But yeah, go check it out because I did, and like Town of Sanford is in there. They've used this company before, so it's really all over the country and actually probably internationally as well. But there's a number in North Carolina that have used it. So yeah, it looks pretty promising.
Yeah, you can just like go into it and find different cities and look at it. It's only $125 a sculpture, and we have the money. So
okay.
Nice.
So I'm new to the group. This is something that the sculptors had to apply for, or these are sculptors that we went to seek?
Yeah, there was a call for artists, and they was an application process, and then a committee that chose from the selected pieces that were submitted, and they will be on loan to the town for a period of 11 months, basically, and so they'll be out in the public from this April until next March.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Anything else on the sculpture show? Okay. Let me give you a little bit of an update on the Unity mural. Not quite as advanced as the sculpture show is. This is a reminder, is a project that came up from a group of students who were working with a teacher out of Apex High School. And when they approached Mayor Gilbert, he suggested that kind of bringing them together with the police department in Apex to do a Unity mural. And so that's what we're working towards. And I've put together a call for artists with some input from Melissa Purdy. Melissa's the teacher that's helping to coordinate the student side of this activity. And then really, they're the driving force behind it. So, but there's quite a few other steps to take before this actually becomes a reality. One is to get it lined up with a future budget, so likely next year's budget, but then also to secure a location for the mural. The one that we're looking at is on a private building, so we need to have further discussions about whether or not that would be appropriate. And so we're still working out the final location, and that would go into a call, and then we can push the call forward once we get a few other approval steps. So there's a number of steps that are required to keep this one moving forward, but we're taking those over the next couple of weeks to get this going. Hopefully, we can get a call for artists out in the springtime, and then again go through our normal process for selecting an artist. In this case, we will not be asking the artist to submit specific designs. We'd be asking artists to work with the community on the input for the design and actually work with community members to do the mural itself. So a much more kind of hands-on activity for the people involved and in working with the artist. I don't have a whole lot of details. Sorry, that's about all I have right now. Pretty early days on this project. But is there any questions from anybody on that one?
I have a question. Will the student, is it the vision that the students will be participating in the painting or mainly in coming up with the concept design?
Both. Yeah. Any other questions on this one?
So will there be a lead artist and then they will come up with the design, or?
Yeah. So the call for artists would be for professional artists to be the responsible person for driving the project, ultimately putting together the design and basically be doing the mural themselves and with the assistance of a small group of people. So, they would work under that individual's direction.
Got it.
The ultimate product in the end would be that artist's work.
So that artist would be getting paid?
That's the idea, yes. So that's where we have to go through the budget process, understand, what our budget might be for this and get approvals and the like to move this one forward. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So takes us to the next item. This is the Beaver Creek Greenway projects. So Sean, any update on that? I know it's been a lovely weather to do such things. So
yeah, I tried to do one and it just got washed out. So
yeah.
Luck with that. No, I mean, I'm just kind of planning for when things start to get warmer again. I've got a couple that are already kind of planned, just different kind of flowers. Thinking about doing some that are, more fern based. So just to kind of not be, stuck with trying to figure out what flowers to use and so they don't all look exactly the same. And then kind of, thought about branching out onto, utility boxes or something like that, a little bit different than just the manhole covers or the service covers, whatever they're called. If that's something that's possible, and just kind of going and seeing what other options we have.
Okay. Yeah. So again, it'd be more of a springtime thing to re-engage with this project. Okay.
Yep.
Makes sense.
If I do get any warmer weather in between, I may try to sneak out and get one done here and there, but nothing planned with the community or anything like that yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again,
that would definitely be spring.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Sean on that one? All right. We have one item under new business, and this is just any open discussion about potential new projects. I had posted a list of potential projects into our Slack page for the team to kind of take a look at. I did get feedback from Sean, so thank you very much, Sean, for volunteering to get involved in a couple of these projects. Just wondering if anyone else had a chance to kind of take a look, has any questions about what they might have seen on the list, or is offering to kind of step in and take the lead on something or partner with somebody on one of the other projects.
My apologies. I did not see the thing come across in Slack.
All right. I will repost so it kind of gets to the top of the list type of thing. All right. So I'll go ahead and just do that. And if anybody, again, if you have any questions about anything, you can just call me once you see that. And again, if you have something else in mind that maybe doesn't appear there, then that's, fair game as well. Let's focus on a couple of, good and impactful projects and not spread ourselves too thin, but this way we can make sure we make good headway and get a couple of things knocked out for our next. Most of these at this point would be certainly for our next fiscal year, which starts in the summertime. So that would be, but to start them rolling now is the time to move these projects forward so we can take advantage of the next kind of budget season. Okay.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
I'm just interested in the wall near the Ambassador's Garden. That item on there.
Yes.
Towards the bottom, it's an orange.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. That's good. I'll put your name on that one, Bethany. Yeah, it's a great spot for a project. And Yeah.
Also, I was actually thinking about, as part of the downtown plan, some of the ideas, the first few items that they're, looking to is activating the alleyways and some of the other garden, type items. So I think that would be also in parallel with some of the downtown plan things that looks like funding probably is going to be allocated for. So I don't know if that would tie in with some of the downtown plan objectives.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be great. I know you've got a connection there, and I do as well in the downtown planning. So let's both stay on top of that and then see what we could take advantage of. I know we had one of the other projects we had listed as crosswalks, and I know Sean expressed an interest in being involved in those, and that's something that is on the downtown plan. So especially when we talk about the alleyways, so maybe not on the main street, not at this stage in the downtown plan, but I think the ones in the alleyways is something that we might be able to do sooner or earlier in that plan.
Are you talking about the one basically behind like Bethany's place?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's a good candidate location for that. And it's the kind of thing that we're going to see in the downtown plan. We have seen in the preliminary plan, but now in this newer phase where they're actually starting to do some design work, those type of things are being discussed.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I was on a planning meeting for that a couple of weeks ago. And again, a number of these things came up, as well as, a whole lot of other potential projects. From a timing perspective, there's going to be several months of that kind of community input and small group input, and then design going on. Bethany, I'm not sure exactly of the timing, but I thought it was more of like a summertime kind of.
Yeah, I didn't hear how long the input time was, but I know that it was a consideration about getting as much public input. I just didn't hear what the timeline was.
Yeah. Okay. I know it's
I was
a couple of months.
in the periphery of hearing that meeting, so I wasn't in the.
Okay.
I was in the background while that was happening.
Yeah. Okay. I know it's at least a couple of months of that period, and then some design time period.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in the summers when we'll start to see some of the kind of product of that. Okay. All right. Any other new business?
You had mentioned the things to me about the stuff to work on being, so greenways, obviously, and then the crosswalk, but then the logo as well. Is that something you still want me to take a look at?
Yeah, that would be good. And I know you mentioned something about doing some work on the logo. So maybe the two of you could get together and discuss that to see where that can, what we could do to have that branding for this group align with the town's new branding.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So I've gone ahead and in the Google Drive, I put 2 documents under marketing. I put the brand navigator internal reduced and brand standards guide. So those 2 documents describe the brand itself, the Apex brand.
Yeah.
And in my discussion with, what's her name?
Stacy.
Stacy Galloway. We finally caught up and had a good discussion. It turns out none of the other departments or groups working around Apex have done sort of a derived logo from this. So we would be the first to do that. But they're open to it, and we just need to kind of come up with a few ideas and sort of run it past them. I'm assuming this is the same group that you're meeting with tomorrow, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So basically, those documents describe the emotions that they want people to feel when they're going through things, as well as the colors. Mm-hmm. So, if I can work with somebody to kind of brainstorm and come up with some ideas that we can A, put in front of this group, and B, put in front of that group.
That's terrific. Yeah. Thank you for doing that kind of legwork. So yeah, Sean, if you and Erin could kind of put your heads together on that and maybe share some concepts, via Slack and get some input from the team. And then it might be something we could then go back to the marketing team on.
Sure. You said that's in the marketing folder?
Yeah. And I can lead you to it if you have more problems. Okay. Yep.
Perfect. Thanks.
And the logos that you had come up with before, so we have a subdirectory called Apex Art Logo, which has nothing in it. I think I created that to put your other logos in there and just failed or something. So.
Sorry, I can pull them up. One of them was made by me, and one of them was made by somebody before while we were waiting for the new logo from Apex.
Yeah, I think they were both kind of pre the new Apex logo, right?
They definitely were.
Yeah. So
I think the reasoning for taking a look at them is they still have good elements in them.
Okay.
And so I'd like to sort of hold them up to the current logo with the Apex logo and kind of brainstorm and see if there's some ways that we can kind of merge things, or I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I always have opinions. You guys know me.
That's good. They're good opinions. I like
that's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Any other new business?
Did you want me to? So I did not respond to you, but I did review the grant opportunity that you sent me.
Oh yeah. What do you think?
It's all right. It's so there's either $1,500 or $5,000 grants available. They're really intended to sort of engage the Raleigh Regional Association of Realtors.
Oh, I see.
And it's not just art. It's so there's two different grant categories. One is the Smart Growth Action Grants. Those Smart Growth Action Grants are sort of, the lower level is sort of education so you can get a speaker to talk about growth impacts affecting your community, something like that. Larger one that's the $5,000 level, would be more to provide seed funding to engage policy and other stakeholders to sort of engage in these items. There's 10 different basic principles for their smart growth grants. And most of them aren't fully aligned with us, but create walkable neighborhoods is one of them. Foster distinctive, attractive communities with a strong sense of place. That's another one that can work well. Preserve open space, farmland, natural beauty, critical environment areas. I don't know quite how that one would work. Anyway, yeah, they also seem to go into transportation some, but so it's not completely aligned. It's not a whole lot of funding, but it is an opportunity. Funding is due, or the application is due April 23rd. And it kind of goes from the local regional group up to some national group and then kind of back down to us. You would get the funding by June of 2021.
Okay. So if we have that and we have the United Arts opportunities, it sounds like the United Arts opportunities might be or is probably a better fit if we had resource to like spend in one area and focus in one area.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's probably similar in level of funding.
Yeah.
I would say, but a greater alignment. There is the placemaking grant that they have.
Okay.
They brought up parklets twice. So
interesting.
Parklets in the up to $1,500 level and parklets in the $5,000 level. It does appear that a piece of this funding is intended to be sort of proof of concept stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So one is alley activations. They mentioned.
Interesting. Using the same terminology.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Community gardens is another one.
Okay, so there might be a couple in there.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Lafayette. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Lafayette.
Hey, Lafayette.
Hey, everybody. So are these funds for both of those largely unrestricted, or are they restricted?
They appear to be completely unrestricted. There is no matching funds required or anything like that. I mean, I do think that you have to give them a means like how you're going to spend it, obviously.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, let's. If you can keep pursuing those, Ewan, as I know that you had done a grant in the past, which makes you like our grant guy forever. Not really. I don't mean it that way, but if you don't mind continuing with that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, no, I've actually done a lot of grants, not related to this, but I've certainly done a lot of grant writing in the past. So no problem.
Yeah, thank you.
It is not fun, I will say that, but yeah.
All right, good stuff. Any other new items?
I have something. This is Bethany. I know the last year we did some of those banners for the parking to dining. I know the parking to dining is supposed to start at the end of March. So I guess just any ideas anybody has, or I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. I haven't seen the plan, how different it's going to be for this year. Do we want to reuse those banners, offer to do anything different, or I guess I don't know if there's anything else. I think they might be up maybe a little bit longer since they're starting a little bit earlier. So I don't know if that's something we want to put some time into, or look at doing. I don't know if there's any funds. We don't have any more. We used up all the banner on that, so we don't have any more materials. I just don't know if there's any budget, if we should offer to do more in keeping with what we did, or anything different.
Can you find out more about what they're going to look like this time, how big they'll be, where they'll be, that type of thing, to see if it's worthwhile? I mean, last time we did it, and it was kind of using things that we had on hand and all that type of deal. But the reality is that parklets were so large that they, kind of got lost in there, right?
Yeah.
So depending on whether or not we could do something that would have more impact, then maybe we go down that route, and if not, perhaps we don't. But if you could dig in a little bit more, that would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know Colleen Moraes from the downtown coordinator, she was mentioning possibly could we get kids to make art, and I suggested I think it'd be really hard to get kids to put art all across the banners and do that much banner material, but possibly could we have them digitally printed so we could take smaller images and blow it up, not necessarily it being a lot of the bus wraps and things are not necessarily somebody painted on a bus. They just digitally print them and apply them. So is there something that we could take or that we could use and turn it into public art, that wouldn't be so time consuming or, costly? Banner material might be less expensive, and maybe,
and if she had a funding source for that, and then we stepped in to help with the coordination and kind of that type of thing, that would be maybe a really good partnership with them.
Yeah, I mentioned to her, I was like, getting the students, as we saw with it's hard to get any students like that engaged, and the kids aren't really in school. So, but if the kids could, each design like a section, or something, each high school could design a section or something, that might be something worthwhile. I just don't know what.
And they could submit them online somehow, and then they could just
or maybe the town
myself for suggesting this.
Yeah.
I could probably apply for one of these grants to try to do that concept, citing COVID and, not wanting people to be in close proximity and painting stuff together. But it also, I think the idea of having people submit stuff gives us a little bit of ability to, keep the quality like we're trying to keep in downtown.
So I'm gonna hate myself for suggesting this, but I could do something like that, like we did with the Peak Fest paint by number stuff. I've got banner from the original thing we did on the construction thing that was up. I've still got that banner too. I might even have another piece of it from that which we didn't know what to do with. And I mean, it's really something we could do. I mean, I could do something with like the paint by numbers if we wanted to go down that route again, but that would be like, like you said, getting kids to, being hard to get kids involved with it. It may be something we could get just anyone involved with, but then we kind of look into, what does that look like and who can just grab it and who can walk by and paint it when they're there. Or, regardless of a pandemic or not, people are apparently out at restaurants. I mean, if they're going to be sitting there at a restaurant, why not paint something? Yeah, I don't know. I think there's multiple ways to go about it.
Why don't we start with maybe Bethany kind of getting the scale and the scope of what this might look like. Yeah. So then we know what we're potentially getting involved with here. But I think it sounds like there's a lot of good ideas that something could be done, to enhance it and kind of be part of it. I think that would be pretty cool.
What's the timeline too?
You're muted, Bethany.
Sorry, I was waiting for my husband to answer the question. I think it's the end of it's like the 20th or the.
Yeah, they're doing it towards the end of March.
The end of March is all we remember.
Oh, the end of March.
So it's I mean, that's pretty quick. So
yeah,
coordinating anything and I think if the funds are immediately available, I think that makes it much easier. I'll ask the downtown coordinator if she has any budget available to help.
I was thinking summer camps, when I have kids there, but that's too
yeah. Like last time, I think last time, we got the banners up well after. I think it'd be nice to have it, something that was going to be done pretty quickly after they're up, because people start developing an opinion of what they look like and the feedback. So it would be nice to get it done as early as possible with that, I think.
Is there a way to find out, or could you also find out what the material is, if it's something we can paint on, or how, what it's going to look like, if they're, just depending on what it's going to be. If it's
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same barricades. I don't think they're the same barricades that they bought last year. So bright orange, construction barrel color.
Okay.
But I'll find out more and I'll send out a message at the end of the week.
All right. Thank you, Bethany.
Tom, I was just reminded of another item that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
So selfie station. I would love to put the finishing touches on that thing and get it moved somewhere else. Is there somewhere at the community center or somewhere at the, I don't know, at the alley?
Do we have, and maybe this one for David, is there a place that we can store? Is there any place the town has for storage? And this was is something that was being produced for Peak Fest last year. And then Peak Fest got canceled. So it's a selfie station. So it's a kind of a wooden frame almost, but very large, big scale, so people could be framed in it. And it's been at Ewan's house for since then. It's something that we certainly could use if Peak Fest occurs or some other kind of festival happens, but we know those are likely not to happen this year again. So can this be stored anywhere?
Well, if you've seen the Halley, we don't have a lot of storage.
No, not at the Halley. I didn't think. Yeah.
So I can check and see if there's any. Give me a kind of rough dimensions. What size are we talking about?
It is 1 foot deep. It is 7 foot high, I think, maybe 6 foot high, and I think it's about 6 foot wide.
Wide. Yeah, okay, yeah. I will, Renee, you just take those notes I'll check with operations to see if there's any of our maintenance buildings that have any kind of capacity to store. I assume it is not weatherproof, or can it be like a covered outdoor area? No? Okay.
It's a covered outdoor area, maybe. Actually, I need somebody to paint it with. We have some white kills to paint it, and then it'll be much more outdoor worthy. But yeah, sure. In general, it's not designed for outdoor.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'll check into that and see if there's any place it can be stored, or when it's ready to be, displayed. Obviously, we'll have some places that we have a new senior center opening, obviously, so probably some room there. So some options might be coming up in the near future as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Thank you all. That's it. Last thing would be a motion to adjourn. Do I get a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn.
A second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great evening and a great week.
Hey.
Wonderful. Nice meeting you
Take care.
guys.
Yeah, you
Bye.
too. Welcome aboard, Nissa. Or, Bernicia.